Iberville Parish women who have in common. They share the same name. Their fathers also share the same name, and they even grew up in the same neighborhood. But they want us to know about their shared experience during one of the most explosive times in their memory and in the city of Plaquemine.
Tell me, how do you
Meet Linda.
We've known each other all our lives, really.
Also say hello to Linda.
Instead of eating lunch, they sing freedom songs.
Their fathers, also with the same first name, go way back.
Her dad, who's also named Bill, and my dad, who was named Bill, were friends. Her dad taught my dad at the trade school that was here at one time. And so they became friends.
Relationships like theirs were a huge part of black life in Plaquemine in the 1960s.
Well, you lived here with the whites, but you always knew your place.
And their families shared more than just names. They also shared in the struggle.
No jobs for black people, not even as bag boys. And they tried to get, blacks in to do that, but they wouldn't accept that at all.
With area leaders like Dr. Bertrand Tyson, Reverend Jetson Davis, and Principal William Harlow, blacks were demanding change. Right?
They tried to get blacks to be registered voters, and that was hard to do. My father he was trying to get people to vote, and that was a problem. So he got in touch with CORE.
That was the political tone in Plaquemine in 1963 when the Congress on Racial Equality, also known as CORE, joined their fight.
Basically for the right to vote, and because there had been some arrests made and there were protests against the arrests.
And CORE's field secretary for Louisiana, Ronnie Moore, and executive director James Farmer came to Iberville Parish.
They used the old Plymouth Rock Baptist Church. Students, children, very few adults would come and listen at what was going on and what needed to be done in the community.
With leaders who worked directly with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., it was largely young people learning the tactics of nonviolence.
They really taught young people how to be nonviolent in the midst of violence. So that's when the August March occurred, where so many things were horrible.
With multiple protests in Plaquemine risking their lives and their jobs, many of the leaders arrested, including James Farmer and William Harlow.
James Farmer was scheduled to be at the March on Washington, but he was in jail.
One August night in 1963 at Plymouth Rock Baptist Church, packed with people, local and state police mounted on horseback violently burst into one of their meetings. Chaos ensued.
And when they came in with the horses and they came in with tear gas, everybody had to try to, self themselves.
Fleeing for his life, James Farmer ran through Good Citizen Funeral Home, down in a casket, riding in a hearse, and barely escaping with his life. It's been nearly 60 years since that night and the events prior, and the changes that resulted from those protests are simple.
There's probably not a store here that doesn't have a large contingency of black workers in it.
Today, Linda and Linda hope people continue to share the story of the freedom fight in Plaquemine, not only for their city, but also for history.
It's all about history, and I think some of the people who are descendants of some of the people in the 60s, they know what the history is. It is a part of history, and they absolutely know it. It can either be history or it can be his story. I would much rather for it to be history.
Today, a Louisiana Civil Rights Trail marker stands in the former location of Plymouth Rock Baptist Church, where those meetings with CORE and Plaquemine leaders took place. And those leaders at the time, Principal William Harlow, Pastor Jetson Davis, and Dr. Bertrand Tyson, are now revered for their efforts to get rights for blacks in Plaquemine.